Hello again from the Rosenbach Museum and Library's Ulysses Every Day. I'm Robert Berry with my friends here at St. Stephen's Green, and what we're going to try to do in a very quarantined way is present what it's like to have conversations in a pub. This is from the Cyclops chapter, and don't worry if you can't follow along, we brought props. So Blue slopes in with his cod's eye on the dog, and he asks Terry, was Martin Cunningham there? Oh, Christ, McCune, says Joe, reading one of the letters. Listen to this, will you? And he starts reading out one. 7 Hunter Street, Liverpool, to High Sheriff of Dublin, Dublin. Honored Sir, I beg to offer my services in the above-mentioned painful case. I hanged Joe Gann in Bootle Jail on the 12th of February, 1900, and I hanged... Show us, Joe, says I. Private Arthur Chase for foul murder of Jassy Tilsett in Pentonville Prison, and I was assistant when... Jesus, says I. Billington executed the awful murderer Toad Smith. The citizen made a grab for the letter. Hold hard, says Joel. I have a special knack at putting the noose. Once in, you can't get out. Hoping to be favored, I remain. Honored sir, my term is 5 guineas. H. Rumbold, Master Barber. And a barbarous bloody barbarian he is too, says the citizen. And the dirty scrawl of the wretch, says Joel. Here, take them the hell out of my sight, Elf. Hello, Bloom, says he. What will you have? So they started arguing about the point. Bloom saying he wouldn't, and he couldn't, and excuse him, no offense, and all to that. And then he said, well, he'd just take a cigar. God, he's a prudent member and no mistake. Give us one of your prime stinkers, Terry, says Joe. And Elf was telling us there's one chap sent in the morning card with a black border around it. They're all barbers, says he. From the black country, would hang their own fathers for 5 quid down in traveling expenses. And he was telling us there's 2 fellows waiting below to pull his heels down when he gets the drop and choke it properly, and then they chop up the rope after and sell the bits for a few bob a skull.
In the dark land they bide, the vengeful knights of the razor. Their deadly coil they grasp, yea, and therein they lead to hubris. Whatsoever weight hath done a deed of blood, for I will on no wise suffer it. Even so saith the Lord.
So they started talking about capital punishment, and of course Bloom comes out with the why and the wherefore and all the codology of the business and all the old dog smelling him all the time. I'm told those Jewies does have a sort of a queer order coming off them for dogs. About I don't know what all deterrent effects and so forth and so on. There's one thing it has a deterrent effect on, says Elf. What's that? Says Joel. The poor bugger's tool that's been hanged. That's so. God's truth, says Elf. I heard from the head warder that was in Kilmaine when they hanged Joe Brady, the Invincible. He told me when they cut him down after the drop, he was standing up in their faces like a poker. Ruling passion, strong in death, says Joel. As someone said, what can be explained by science, says Bloom. It's only a natural phenomenon, don't you see? Because on account of the... And then he starts with his jawbreakers about phenomenon and science and phenomenon and the other phenomenon.
This distinguished scientist, Herr Professor Leopold Blumenduft, tendered medical evidence to the effect that this instantaneous fracture of the cervical vertebrae and consequent scissions of the spinal cord would, according to the best approved traditions of medical science, be calculated to inevitably produce in a human subject a violent ganglionic stimulus of the nerve centers of the genital apparatus, thereby causing the elastic pores of the corpora cavernosa rapidly dilate in such a way as to instantaneously facilitate the flow of blood, that part of the human anatomy, known as the penis, or male organ resulting in the phenomenon, in which has been denominated by the faculty of a morbid upwards and outwards philoprogenitive erection in articulo mortis pedimitenian capitis.
So, of course, the citizen was only waiting for the wink of the word, and he starts gassing out of him about the Invincibles and the Old Guard and the men of the 67 and who fears to speak of the 98, and Joe with him about all the fellows that were hanged, drawn, and transported for the cause by drumhead court-martial and New Ireland and New this, that, and the other. Talking about New Ireland, he had to go and get a new dog, so he ought. Mangy, ravenous brute, sniffing and sneezing all around the place, and scratching his scabs, and round he goes to Bob Doran that was standing in Alpha half one, sucking up for what he could get. So, of course, Bob Doran starts doing the bloody fool with him. Give us the paw, doggy, give us, good old doggy, give us the paw here, give us the paw. Bloody end of the paw, he'd paw. An elf, trying to keep him from tumbling off the bloody stool atop of the bloody old dog, and he talking all kinds of drivel about training by kindness, and thoroughbred dog, and intelligent dog. Give you the bloody pip. Then he starts scraping a few bits out of old biscuit out of the bottom of Jacob's tin he told Terry to bring. He golloped it down like old boots, and his tongue hanging out of him like a yard long or more. Near ate the tin and all, hungry mongrel. And the citizen and Bloom having an argument about the point. The brothers Shear and Wolf Tone beyond on Arbor Hill, and Robert Emmett and Die for Your Country. The Tommy Moore touch about Sarah Curlin, and She's Far from the Land, and Bloom, of course, with his knock-me-down cigar, putting on swank with his lardy face. Phenomenon. A fat heap he married is a nice old phenomenon, with a back on her like a ball alley. Time they were stopping up in the City Arms, Pisser Burke told me there was an old one there with a cracked Lutheran of a nephew, and Bloom, trying to get the soft side of her, doing the mollycoddle playing Bizik to come in for a bit of the wampum in her will, and not eating meat on Friday because the old one was always thumping her craw, and taking the lout out for a walk. And one time, he led him the rounds of Dublin, and, by the holy farmer, he never cried crack till he brought him home as drunk as a boiled owl, and he said he did it to teach him the evils of alcohol. By herrings, if the three women didn't near roast him. That's a queer story. The old one, Bloom's wife, and Mrs. O'Dowd, that kept the hotel. Jesus, I had to laugh at Pisser Burke taking them off, chewing the fat. And Bloom, with his "but don't you see," and "but on the other hand," and sure, more betoken, the lout, I'm told, was in Powers after, the Blenders, round in the Cope Street, going home footless in a cab 5 times a week after drinking his way through all the samples of the bloody establishment. Phenomenon. The memory of the dead, says the citizen, taking up his pint glass and glaring at Boom. Aye, says Joe. You don't grasp the point. What I mean is, the citizen. Sinn Fein, says the citizen. Sinn Fein a one. The friends we love are by our sides, and the foes we hate before us. Happy Balloon.